Students, in the last video we had learned that force is a push or a pull upon an object resulting from the object's interaction with another object. So this is what we had learned in the last video. Today we will be learning about the types of this interaction. So today we are going to learn about describing forces and types of forces. So let us start. So before studying types of interaction, we are going to learn how to describe a force. Though we had learned about this earlier, but it is necessary to highlight it again. So a force can be described by stating its magnitude and direction in which it acts. So force can be represented by an arrow. The length of the arrow represents its magnitude, and the direction of the arrow shows the direction of the force. So this is an arrow F1 and this is an arrow F2. Now in both these arrows, which arrow represents a stronger force? Right, F2 represents stronger force. Are they in same direction? Yes, they are in same direction. They are pointing to right hand side. So F2 is a stronger force. Now we will study about types of forces. So first one is a contact force and second one is a non-contact force. First we will see examples of contact forces. One example of contact force is a muscular force. Muscular force, as the name suggests, it is nothing but a force applied with the help of muscles. But I want to ask you, what is contact force? Even here, from the name itself, we can get the idea of what is contact force. Since the dumbbell and the man are in contact with each other and the man is applying force with the help of his muscles on the dumbbell with the help of contact, and so these are contact forces. So the force which is applied with the help of contact by contacting the other object is a contact force. This is another example of a contact force. Here a person is sliding a box over a surface and both surface as well as box, they are in contact with each other. So this is also an example of contact force. But what type of contact force is this? This type of contact force is called as frictional force. Frictional force arises because of friction between the two surfaces. In this case, the surface of the box and the surface of the ground, they are applying a force of friction on each other. So this type of contact force is called as frictional force. So first of all, we will study about contact force. We already know the types of forces, contact force and non-contact force. And in that, first one is a contact force. The definition of the contact force is the force which act when they are in contact with the body are called as contact forces. I repeat, forces which act when they are in contact with the body are called as contact forces. Examples we have already seen. Muscular force and frictional force are couple of examples of contact forces. Now it is very easy to imagine a contact force, but that is not the case with non-contact force. How can a body apply a force without contacting another body? First of all, let us see the definition. Non-contact forces, forces which act even when they are not in contact, are called as non-contact forces. So forces which are applied even when bodies are not in contact, they are not in contact with each other, these are called as non-contact forces. Students, I know it is difficult to imagine, but when I will give you examples of these forces, you will be able to perceive what is non-contact forces. So, examples, let us see it now. One of the example of non-contact forces is a magnetic force. So here in this case there are two bar magnets and there is ring in between. Because of this magnetic force, the ring is revolving around its own axis. This is a famous example of non-contact force, gravitational force. This was first discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. Apple had fallen on his head and then he had thought of this force, gravitational force. Gravitational force arises because of massive objects applying a force on another objects. So any object which has mass applies a gravitational force on another object. So examples of non-contact forces are gravitational force, magnetic force, etc. So we learned about what is force, we learned about types of forces, and we also learned about examples of these forces. Now comes the last part of the video, which is assignment. So first question is, how is force described? Second question is, what are the types of forces? And third question is, define first contact force, second non-contact force. So these three questions you have to attempt. They are easy because the points related to these questions have already been discussed. So that was all for today. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask me. See you in next week. Until then, take care. Bye bye.